Shalom. So today we're gonna actually talk about it's almost like a parallel universe, um, trapped between two worlds, fear and death. Now, your spirit can be trapped there. This is spiritual oppression. People experience these type of things, and if you don't understand it or you don't have the knowledge of it, it will be easier for you to lose loved ones by just not understanding it, right? This is not a topic that one should be ignorant of, especially if you read in the New Testament. You see a lot about um, demon possessions, casting out demons, and I'm not talking about like, oh, a person has a fever or little sickness or the disease. I'm talking about entities dwelling in your temple, right? I know it can be hard based on your religious background. You know, some denominations, they don't believe in spirits. Most of them don't know that they don't know that they don't believe in spirit, right? They might use the word, but for the actual experience, they don't believe based on what they were taught, right? So even if reality is manifesting before their eyes, the belief is so strong to the point where reality appears like the illusion and their belief the actual reality, right? And also I think for a lot of Hebrews, because these things are not commonly discussed, well, most of what I've seen, I don't see these things being really discussed among the Hebrew thing. I'm talking about actual demonic possession, where there's a entity using your vessel. You know, you're kicked out, you're being pushed in the back, right? And your vessel is operating by other forces. Now, what happens is, what it needs to do first is to deceive you, and it is done in a very subtle way, because it's gonna show you some truths, and then it's gonna show you some lie, and then it's gonna make it very complicated for you to discern. So everything is just going to seem like one truth, but that is to the end that you have a fear, and that fear will benefit them. What is it that you're going to fear when you have such an experience? You're going to fear falling asleep because of the things that you already seen. You are seeing things from the underworld, right? What I mean the underworld, just as when you would read, you see the Messiah going around, and the scripture says Jesus wept, right? Why was he able to cry for all these people? The scripture says, with much knowledge comes much grief. So now that you understand, now that you know these things, guess what? You can see the oppression in them. You can see the spiritual oppression. So you're gonna weep because you understand it. Just like when we see some things, we can say that is really evil, or such a wickedness is done to these people or whoever, right? So what does it say? Make a wise man mad. There's a scripture about making a wise man mad, right? That's the same thing. You wise, you understand these things. Now you're gonna be angry at everything, that because you're seeing right through it. You're seeing the wickedness. Other people might be celebrating because they don't see. They're ignorant. They're not celebrating because they're actually happy. They're celebrating because they don't know. Because if had they known, they would be weeping, right? They would not want to celebrate, but they don't know, right? So yes, with much knowledge comes much grief. You know, it's a vexation of the spirit, right? So what they do is they show you things from the standpoint of the underworld. So what you're actually seeing, no, you're not seeing things the way you'd normally see it. You're seeing what is beyond the physical. So, for example, you walk into a hospital, right? You know what's gonna happen? It's not gonna be like a normal person walking in a hospital where you just see a patient here, a patient there. No, you're seeing all the spirits that are on these people. You're seeing the literal spirit. So a person, oh, doctor said this person has sugar. We don't see anything, but a person who is possessed is actually seeing the spirit feeding on that person. That is very fearful to see. Why do you believe the scripture said don't go to people who can see into the future or stuff like that? The most I don't want you to have such experience, because humankind cannot bear the burden that comes with that. Cannot. We think we can. We cannot bear that burden. So you can imagine what the Messiah went through going around and understanding everything. You might just see a woman sick here, a man sick there, or whatever, but he sees everything from the Spirit, right? So for the person who is possessed, what the demon is going to do is actually, like I said, show him all these things to bring that fear. Now, when the person sees that, he is afraid of going to sleep, because he's now perceiving that if I fall asleep, I'm going to die. So he is going to resist the sleep and try to stay awake more, or fight to stay awake, or avoid anything that would put him to sleep. So this is why if you're trying to give them an injection, a pill to make them, they're going to resist it, because they are already convinced that if they go to sleep, they will die. But what does that do for the demon? No, they can do what? Fully take over this vessel. As long as you stay awake, they can use it to their advantage, especially if it's a strong, healthy vessel, meaning you don't have a problem to move around, and you're not bedridden or stuff like that. Because in that case they will only be yapping. But when they can move, use your hands, move your feet, do whatever they want, plus they can speak for you, these are very pleasurable to these demons. That's a lot of envy, because we here as humans, we here in the flesh, we get to enjoy all of these pleasures. They covet us. They covet our dimension. So this is their only way to manipulate things, right? So they have to use our vessels. And this is why we have our laws, because it's not just laws as we perceive, but it is the knowledge to conquer the demons. We are battling against demons. We're battling against powers. We're battling against gods. When we fall to a beautiful woman, what we're seeing is just a beautiful woman. But it's way beyond that. We're dealing with a whole dimension of spirit. It's not what you see physically, the beauty there. There is something enchanting us through desire to go there. And they're very subtle. They come in many forms, because if they know that you are, say, you're a righteous man, or you are at a certain level of consciousness, guess what? They cannot send a woman dressing up in short, sexy, kind of nudity stuff to catch you. They have to use something more subtle, something more elegant, something more intelligent, something more natural. So you see, there are levels, right? So once they get to trap you, to make you resist the sleep, or not wanting to sleep, or fight against the sleep, or go against anything that would put you in the state to sleep, no, they really have you how they want you. And this is when you start to see that wild look in their eyes. You can know that this person hasn't slept for a while, right? And it's similar to when they come in the form of thoughts to keep you thinking all night. You understand? You go through your days fine. You do your normal activities, your normal chores, work, whatever it is. But when all of that is done and it's time for you to sleep, thoughts after thoughts after thoughts. 2, 3 o'clock, you're still up. 4 o'clock, you close your eyes. By 5 o'clock, you're up again. But those are more subtle. You know, I'm talking in the case where there's actually something inside your temple, right? There's a different thing in there, right? So you're really trapped between fear and death, and that's not an easy thing to deal with. Like I said, what they will do is try to wear out your support system. So if it happens to a family, to someone in a family that have known knowledge to this, what they will do is do everything to um to weaken that family, to make them want to give up on you. The moment your family gives up on you, that's it. So you have to have at least one person who is strong enough in the family or with their friends, whatever it is. As long as you have support, you will make it through. Right? The most important thing is that you have a humble spirit, a humble heart, that when they speak to you, you're able to listen. Or if you have someone that can speak to that spirit inside of you, right? If the person is naturally stubborn, rebellious, it's going to be much harder to fight, because what the demons do is just magnify what is already there, right? This is actually the function of spirit. They don't really change you completely. It is what is already there. They just magnify it, make it more stronger, make it more intense, right? So it's not an easy thing if you're ignorant of it, or if you don't believe in these things, or if you easily freaked out, right? They can bring stress upon your families, your friends, and that can be very devastating, and that is the wearing out part of it. Once they get to wear out your families, your friends, your support, they'll take advantage of you. Look at the guy that was in the caves, bounded in chains. What does that tell you? He was not around his family. His family and friends were not around him. He wouldn't be in the cave by himself or with the other demons then, right? His temple was overrun, right? So that's the thin line between the fear of falling asleep and death. And this is why people say death is the cousin of sleep, because they're really so close. You understand? Sleep and death. Because even in your sleep, you might not be aware, but it can happen where in your sleep, even your breath leaves you, right? It's not something that you're going to really know that if it happens, right? If it happens in your sleep. But like, for example, a person who is on a machine that can tell that, you can see how many times during your sleep your breath actually left, you know. But death is something deeper, and I'm gonna read here Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 6. It says, or ever the silver cord be loosed, or the golden bowl be broken, or the pitcher be broken at the fountain, or the wheel broken at the cistern. Now think about it. Think about you having a bowl in your hand and there's water in it. Let's use the water as a spirit. Once that bowl is broken, can you take back up the water to you cannot do that. So, and also it says, or ever the silver cord be loosed, right? Or a wheel broken at the cistern. Now imagine, your car, something breaks in the axle area or something like that. It's gonna be hard for you to keep that control. So it's really talking about your spirit, right? There's a connection that has to be cut in the spiritual realm for it to be passed as death, right? So your breath can leave your body for a period of time, but it's not actual death, but it's just like a deeper level of sleep. As long as that spiritual connection is not broken, is not cut, then, and doctors can pronounce you dead because that's how it appears to them, right? That's how it looks from that standpoint, but it's not actual death until the cutting of the cord, right? So that is the thing about the fear. Like I said, these demons, they are very deceptive. They'll show you the truth, then they come back and show you the lie. No, you are too weak to discern what is truth from what is lie. They will show you your people, your friends, your families, everyone that love you like an actual threat. They'll show you them in here in the form of monsters coming to attack you. So what happens? Now you turn against them. They cannot fight you anymore. They're gonna run away. So after a while, everyone abandons you. And guess what happens? When they all abandon you, now you're left by yourself, like that man in the cave, bounded in chains. Your vessel belongs to them. You know, you don't want to sleep. You don't want anything that would put you asleep, and you're just not going to be in a right state of mind. And you know what happens when you're not sleeping? It messes with your memory, it messes with your nerve, right? So everything is breaking down. You belong to them. So it's something that you have to fight. You'd have to fight. And the easiest way to overcome is to always listen to the physical people around you. Because what they're showing you here is a whole different dimension. They take you to the underworld, literally. They take your spirit on a journey to witness things that you cannot bear as a human being. You're seeing beyond what your normal eyes can see. Say a person come near to you that has a spirit on them. You're going to be actually seeing that spirit. So imagine you go out in the city. For normal people, these are just, beautiful people out there. But when you, the person that is possessed, go out there, you're seeing a whole different thing. You're actually seeing a city full of sin. A city of people full of sin. You're seeing demons literally traveling with people. You're seeing spirits attached to people. That is too much for a human being. We're not ready for that. Right? And these demons, they know the spirit that is on each person, good or bad. Just as when the Messiah was going through, they were able to identify him. They know who to be subject to. They know it. So if you have a clean spirit, they will recognize you. They will be very respectful to you as well. Yep. However, they are what they are. Especially if they already have an open door to stay in here, they have a certain right to stay there. That's a whole different level. Demon possession is very real. The spiritual world is very real. It's more real than this physical thing that we see. Because the physical is very limited. Right? It's very limited to be in this physical. You can only perceive so much. But the spirit world, everything. So it's not a good place to be trapped. It's like I said, it's like living in a parallel universe. Death on one side, fear on the other side. Your soul is trapped between. Now you get pushed down. Right? Somebody else is up in the front, altering. controlling the vehicle. It's a dangerous place to be. However, constant praying, your psalms, your incense, your olive oil, consecrated, they do help. Right? Keep that fire constantly burning. No, don't put it out. Just like in the temples, the fire should not go out. It's the same. Never put out your incense. Do not cease to pray. Do not stop praying. It works regardless of what people think or whatever their belief is. There are things that you can bind in the spirit world and loose in the spirit world through prayers. Set your intention. Summons your archangels, and the Most High will send whoever He needs to send according to what needs to be done. And believe in your intention. Pray in the power, in the authority, in the truth, and in the spirit. And with that authority, you shall do great things. Shalom.